Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to have you all here. Welcome to our coaching communities of practice on the art and science of coaching, unlocking potential in others. I'm Anjali, your host for today. This session is held every second Wednesday of the month and is designed to inspire personal and professional development while reshaping the way you grow as a community. Let's make this a transforming experience and a place to share success. Thank you all for joining in. Let's dive in. Let's welcome Sonam Arya Gulati, passionate self-discovery coach, dedicating herself to empower individuals to unlock their true potential. With over 12 years of experience, Sonam is an ICF certified coach, image consultant, and an NLP practitioner, combining these disciplines to create transformative coaching experiences. Sonam believes that true transformation begins with understanding our beliefs and patterns. Prepare to be inspired as she unveils practiced strategies to master the art and science of coaching. You can put in your questions in the Q&A box, and it will be answered at the later stage. Do remember, this is being recorded for future reference. Welcome to you, Sonam. Over to you.
Thank you, Anjali. Thank you so much. Welcome, everybody. So, as you can see, today's topic is around the art and science of coaching. Coaching happens to be one of the most precious skills to have in order to explore the best in yourself and in the other. So how is it that we can use coaching? We'll first understand a little about what coaching is, how do we really use it, and then we'll proceed further in how you can use it in a regular conversation as well when you need to. So as ICF says, coaching is partnering with client in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. So it's a process of partnership wherein a coach and the client get together and a lot of thought-provoking questions are asked, a lot of deep dive happens to which one is able to explore what is really lying hidden inside. There are a lot of things that we wish to have an answer for, and the beauty of coaching is that it tells you how those answers are within you. And you can really get to those answers when just probed rightly. So you're not guided, you're not given a solution, you're not told, okay, this is your tailor-made path, follow this and you will get what you want. You're actually doing a lot of deep dive into yourself and getting on to answers. So that's the beauty of coaching. It is something that feeds the roots. Coaching helps you facilitate your growth. Its basic premise is on raising awareness. Raising the awareness from what you have right now to what is possible. To what more can you get to know about yourself? Any hidden facets that you might have, they come out in coaching. Your deep driven thoughts, they come out in coaching. Something that you've been oblivious to, but you know. You have those answers, but you've just not touched that corner. They come out of coaching. So with that, coaching helps you maximize your potential. Coaching gives the responsibility in your hands. It's not the coach's responsibility, but your responsibility. And it tells you how you have choices. So coaching makes you aware of the choices you have and enables you choose rightly in order to proceed further. Let's just watch this video to understand coaching more deeply. Is it visible?
It's visible.
I will not go full screen then because Lucas wrote the moment it goes full screen, it freezes.
Okay.
Yeah? So is it fine?
It's doing okay now.
Perfect. Right. So this was basically about how coaching works. If you saw, there were some hurdles, there was a goal that was set, and the coach was always there to support. But everything that was done by the person himself. There were new paths that were made, there was a fall, there were, new steps in the ladder that were created as the next strategy. So the coach was always there to support, to enable, but everything was done by the person itself. So there was no sound in the video. If any one of you couldn't hear the sound, it's okay. There were just some sounds of movement, of snapping, of closing, of opening, of the toolkit. Those were the only sounds. So it was more of a visual for us to see that how goals are set, how we can navigate those goals through coaching and move forward. So the first step of coaching is to have a goal, right? And when you're using coaching in your language, when you're, with somebody in your organization and you need to coach a junior, how can you do that? A lot of times we have statements, a lot of times we have problems. The moment they are converted into goals is when we can move past it, right? So that's how coaching really works. Coaching also talks about the best self. So, what really is our best self? This video also spoke about that. We aspire to get there. You could go on to the next slide, Anjali. Thank you. Yes, perfect. Yes. So we aspire to get somewhere, right? But we're performing at a certain level, and our aspiration says we gotta get here. So as you can see, the first bar is of performance, where you currently are. The second is of your awareness, how aware you are of where you can reach, or what you're capable of, or what you believe your strengths to be, knowing that yes, I can get there. That's the second dotted line, which talks about the awareness of you being able to reach somewhere. Whereas your potential that lies inside of you is way, way, way more than that. You could go back to slide number 5, Anjali. Whereas the potential is way more than that. We're not even aware of our potential. And we do not operate at even 50% of it. So coaching enables you get to that potential. Coaching enables you understand that okay, you feel you can get here, but maybe you can, hey, go there, right? As in the video as well, there were different standards, there were different goals set, and once one was achieved, it went on to the other. So that's what typically happens through coaching. It pushes us beyond the horizons that we might be limiting ourselves to and enables us go beyond that and forward. You could go to the next slide. This is really interesting. This is the learning cycle that we all go through. And on the x axis, you can see time, and on y axis, you can see performance. So, with time, our performance does get better. And from a lack of awareness stage, we do go to a skill stage. So, anytime you're learning something new, what do you go through? For example, riding a bicycle, right? When you are not even aware, a child is not aware of what a bicycle is. And then one day he sees it, he sees people around him cycling, and he's like, wow, this is something I want to do, right? Earlier, the child was not even aware of, you could just go back.
Shit. Sorry.
Okay. So earlier, the child was not even aware that he lacked something and he had to learn it, right? The moment that cycle discovery happened, he's like, oh, wow, I gotta learn something. Now the child knows it's the awareness stage that I don't know how to ride a cycle, but maybe I can learn it. And then when you start learning cycling, you're very conscious of each and every step that you're taking. You're very conscious of how you're sitting on your cycle. You're very conscious of how you're putting your feet. You're very conscious of how you're pedaling, how you're holding the handle, how you're balancing yourself. And after that step by step stage comes the skill stage. When you've learned it so well that it just become an unconscious competence for you and you can just ride without thinking. Same thing happens with us when we start to learn how to drive a car. Initially we're very careful about each and every gear 1, gear 2, gear 3, gear 4. And then it just becomes a flow for us, right? That's a learning cycle that we all go through. And coaching also talks about that learning cycle. Coaching is one of those learning cycles where you might not be aware of certain things in your life that you might be lacking in. It might be an unconscious incompetence, but as and when you explore, you get to know it becomes a conscious incompetence that, okay, this is something that I've not explored yet. I'm not here, but I could get there. Then you start learning it, right? We all have not come learned everything in our lives. It's a step by step journey. You start learning it. And with that, you're very cautious when you're learning it. You're very cautious of how you're using it, how you're portraying it. And then it becomes a part of you. It gets embedded in your system where you don't even have to think. And it just happens, right? That's the unconscious competence that coaching takes you to. It embeds things in your system because it's something that you believe in, right? When you get solutions to things yourself, you start believing in them. Anjali, you could help us move next. So, coaching has a mindset to it. It starts with an approach that the client has a lot of potential. We need to believe in ourselves, and a coach needs to believe in their client. So, believing that, yes, I have a lot of potential, and for the coach to believe that my client has a lot of potential. The coach believes that client knows the best. I don't know the best about your life. You know the best about your life. I might be good in certain areas, but you're the best in your life. So, what you want to achieve, where you want to go, what your career goals might be, what you might be experiencing in your relationship, right? You know it, feel it the best, you understand it the best. A coach provides a non judgmental space to its client. And the non judgmental space means that the client has the free right to express whatever he wants without being judged, without feeling conscious. Now we can become more aware of this mindset and we can start showcasing this mindset to those around us, those we deal with. We can start displaying this mindset to our own selves, wherein we have that full faith in ourselves, wherein we believe in our potential, wherein we know that we know the best. We might not have the answer yet, but we can get there. So, coach is an enabler. As you saw in the video as well, the coach did not do anything. The coach did not hold hands. The coach did not put the steps on the ladder. It was the client who put the steps in the ladder. The coach just guided. The coach just showed what was happening and what could happen. Coach has full faith in the client's abilities and coach provides a listening space. How many times have you experienced this that you come up with a doubt, you come up with an emotion and you get different answers on that. Oh, why don't you do this? Oh, why don't you do that? And sometimes you just want to express and feel lighter. If we have to listen to what others are saying, the whole world is full of advice, and we would have already achieved everything that we wanted to by just the advice people give us. But how many times have you seen yourself follow through that advice? Coaching enables you get to your answers. It gives you that listening space to just express. Do not barge you into solutions. To not say, oh, do this, do that. Right? Sometimes that self expression is extremely important to listen to your inner voice as well and to be able to find your own answers than just being told, oh, why don't you do this? This is the best solution. This is how you should approach this. If we had to listen to everyone, we would have already done there, been there, achieved everything that was possible. We do what we believe to be right. We do what we believe to be the best for us. So, how can we incorporate this coaching mindset? This coaching mindset comes with a lot of ease, with a lot of non judgmentalness. It comes from listening. So, whether you're listening to yourself, whether you're listening to those around you, believing in yourself, believing in those around you, and not jumping onto giving solutions. Sometimes just a self expression enables you get to a solution than getting it from someone else. We do not follow tailor-made paths. We make our own paths, even if we're struggling. That's how human beings work. Where support is required, that comes in the form of mentoring, that could come in the form of consulting, that could come in different forms. And we're going to talk about all of that as well. Right? But coaching is one technique in which you do not give solutions. Right? We could move next. So there's a very interesting quote. It says, it's very important to understand that everyone doesn't have to agree or disagree. It's okay to just listen, observe, and try to understand another perspective other than yours. The highest form of intelligence with regards to awakening is the ability to observe without judgment. Sylvester McNatt. So, how often are we able to just observe without judgment? How often are we able to see someone else's world with their eyes and our world with the eyes that say, hey, it's all okay? Observing your own world without judgment. We do start labeling things. We do start labeling our own selves based on how we're performing, based on the challenges that might come, based on the outbreaks that one might have. But the key is even mindfulness is all about that. It's about that moment to moment, non judgmental awareness. You could go back to the previous slide. Perfect. No, the next one. So, in coaching, it's a partnership. This partnership works on trust and presence. Trust of providing a safe space, a non judgmental safe space to the client, of confidentiality. So, anything that's shared in a coaching session is confidential and not shared anywhere else. That's the beauty of it. It's a safe space, a non judgmental space, and a confidential space. As coaches, we have these ethics of not sharing it further anywhere, even to family and friends. Nothing goes As they say, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. What happens in a coaching session stays in a coaching session, right? So it starts with mutual agreement and understanding. It starts with safe space and confidentiality and listening. The communication that you have, the presence that the coach shows is by listening, is by communicating and understanding what is even unsaid and raising the awareness for the client. And if we can start incorporating some parts of these in our daily conversations, we'll see immense difference in ourselves and others. Just little parts of it, snippets of it. You don't have to be coaching anyone, but just some of the rules that coaching works on, abides on. If we can start incorporating that, we will see a huge, tremendous amount of difference in our listening, in our communication, in how we speak, how we understand, and how others feel around us. Make sense? Okay, could you move forward, Anjali? So, coaching is very different from mentoring, consulting, and counseling. These are all different approaches. These approaches will enable a person get to their goal, but they're all very different in their nature. So, coaching we've spoken about, you know, there's a very simple thing. Coaching is helping them learn rather than teaching them. We enable you learn and we don't teach you. In mentoring, there's an expert. In mentoring, there'll always be an expert in that particular field where you're taking mentoring from, and they enable you learn faster, they enable you develop certain skills, they will provide their wisdom, guidance, experience to tell you how you can move forward. In consulting, you will be diagnosing problems and sometimes prescribing solutions. You will be figuring out where the problem lies. What is going wrong here? Why is this working like this? Right? Why is the car not moving straight? Oh, the problem is that the tire is punctured, which is why the alignment is going left. Right? So a consultant will help you diagnose the problem. And a counselor is more therapeutic in nature. They focus on the past, they enable you overcome barriers and issues from the past. The focus could be internal or external. So they're very different approaches. All are important. A person can have a coach, a counselor, a mentor, all three at the same time. There's nothing wrong in it. They all three provide you with different solutions. We say coaching is for high potential because it enables you tap on your untapped potential, right? The belief that the coaching starts with is only that the client has huge potential. And we enable you get there. We enable you tap it. Right? Could you move next, Anjali? So there are always boundaries in these four facets that we just discussed, from coaching to mentoring to consulting to counseling. There are boundaries within each. And it's important to not cross that boundary. As a coach, we will never give suggestion. We will not give an advice. Right? Coaching starts with the premise that the client has all the answers. It is completely a client driven process. It is a process of enabling clients get to their answers. The coach will only use their tools and approaches to channelize the client's thinking to enable them get to their answers. That channelizing, that approach makes a lot of difference. Right? A coach will always make sure that no matter what the problem is, No matter what the situation is, it's converted into a goal. What is it that you want to achieve? Half our things are sorted once we know what we're looking for. Till the time we stay in the problems, in the obstacles, in what might be there, what might not be there, we really cannot navigate to where we want to be. So, a coach enables you visualize that future that you're looking for, that future, that goal that you're striving towards, and then find the path to it. That path might not be tailor made, but that path can be discovered in this partnership. The accountability and responsibility always remains with the client. So you don't have to burden yourself with your client's problems. You just have to be there to enable them and to release their burden as well. Right? A lot of times, somebody else's emotions rub on us. But coaching is a more mindful technique where we do not incorporate, we do not start rubbing those emotions on ourselves. While the client might be focusing on the problem, the coach focuses on the client and the potential and the fact that there is a solution possible. That's how this approach changes everything. Could we move next, Anjali? So it's a very simple thing. It's a really interesting model that we have in front. It says if you can see the x-axis and the y-axis, it says tell on the y-axis and problem on the x-axis to start with. So when you're telling the problem, you're consulting. When you're asking the problem, you're counseling. When you're asking for the solution, you're coaching. And when you're telling the solution, you are mentoring. So whichever approach you want to use, whichever approach you want should be used on you, use that. This enables us understand the boundaries. This enables us distinguish between which technique does what. Right? When you're telling the problem, you're consulting. When you're asking the problem, you're counseling. When you're asking for solution, you're coaching. And when you're telling the solution, you're mentoring. Make sense? Are we all on the same page? Everyone's off video. I can only see Anjali here. Great. 1 second. Lucas has written something. This is the best representation of the difference between all these I've ever seen. All right. Thank you so much. This is called the TAPS model and it's by David Rock. Tell, ask, problem, solution. It's the TAPS model. Thank you, Lucas. Could we go next, Anjali? So now we're going to come to the coaching model. Which model do we really follow? In a conversation when we have a lot going on for us and we go to a coach, there will be a lot that we will start sharing, right? We will just start left, right, center, everything about what's inside us, and we will start pouring our heart out. But now the coach has to channelize these thoughts and these emotions and this whole topic that starts with to a goal, right? And if there are multiple topics, they have to be funneled down to one at a time, right? So one session, one topic. If we start talking about all the multiple things together, we will not get anywhere, right? So the point is to funnel down the whole conversation into a goal. That goal has to be created by the client, but the coach will make that happen. The next step is the reality. So we start exploring the reality around that goal, the reality around that situation: what, when, where, how much, etc., etc. What is the current reality around that goal that one is looking to achieve? What are the current hurdles that one might have around that goal? What all is possible, what is not possible at the moment? What is the exact reality? Right? Then, after we've explored the reality, we go on to the options of what is possible or what can we do now from here. What are some of the solutions possible? What are some of the options one has? And from those options, there is a commitment, there is clarity, there is funneling down to that one next step or two next steps that the client might want to take in order to achieve that goal that was set out. And when we're able to explore things in this manner without deviating, this model is called the T-GROW model: topic, goal, reality, options, and wrap up. When we're able to funnel down, when we're able to have the clarity, the commitment, the support, and we're able to move forward, that's when we're able to take action out of what we've learned, out of what we've experienced. Does that make sense? So let's see what are some of those questions that come to us. Could we go to the next slide, Anjali? So when we talk about the topic, it is what one wants to talk about. It is the whole context of the conversation. And once you're given the context, we funnel it down to the goal. What does one want to achieve? So our language from problem is on the goal. From the problem, from the obstacles, anything that's being shared, it's about what one wants to achieve, right? And then aligning the whole conversation to that. Then, when we come to reality, it is about what is happening currently. It helps in raising awareness and gaining perspective of the current situation, right? So, let's get all perspectives clear about the current situation. Then we go to the options. What all can be done? How much feasible is that option? So you can think through all your next steps. A lot of times we might come up with solutions which might not be practical, right? So a coach ensures that whatever options have been explored and what all can be done is practical, is aligned with the client's values, with the client's vision. And then the commitment part starts. Just figuring out also does not help. It's how we build a plan around it and we start working on it and then start taking actions. Now, I'm going to tell you some of the example questions because it's all just theory right now, right? So, we do have detailed programs, CCU programs as well, which we have around coaching conscious conversations, where there are also demos that we do for you to see and experience a coaching conversation. We're also running coach training certification. So there are a lot of demos and stuff. This is just merely theory and an understanding for you to kind of get the hang of it and be able to apply it in your language at least. Right? So could you help us move to the next slide, Anjali? When we talk about the topping, some questions that the coach can ask are, what would you like to talk about? What is occurring for you? When we're talking about the goal, some of the questions that can be asked are, what would you like to achieve in this regard? Okay, I understand this is what the situation is, but now what do you want? What from here? Right? Or what would you like to achieve as an outcome of this conversation with me? And if we can start using this language in our daily communication, in our office, a lot can change. When we know what outcome we're working towards, when we know what outcome we're conversing towards, a lot can change, right? Then the reality, what is going on for you currently? Tell me more about it. And that makes the client explore, explore, explore. Right? So, as many open ended questions as possible. Options. What is possible now? What would you really like to do about it? If there were no boundaries, what would you do? If there were no restrictions, what would you do? Right? Exploring all of that with the help of your questions. And then wrapping it up for the client by saying, what are you taking away from this conversation? And sometimes it might just be a new awareness. Sometimes it's an action plan. What steps would you like to take in this regard now, post the session? So, building that clarity and ownership and accountability in the client, where the client decides to do something post the session, understanding the time frame in which the client plans to do it, how the client plans to do it, what support might the client need, what obstacles could come in their way while actually trying to do that. So we do a whole 360 check at each level to ensure what the client can really do once they're away from the session. So in coaching, we enable our clients to act on their own. Once we've coached them in one situation, we know they can handle multiple situations like that themselves. They don't have to keep coming back to us. What they learn from that, the awareness they create for themselves, they are more hands on with more aspects of their life. And that's what coaching does. So, if we can start using that language, if we can start focusing on the goal, providing a non judgmental space to people, and focusing on the outcome that is required, the goal that is required, asking more open ended questions to explore, being more mindful, we definitely can conquer a lot. Now, I would like to hear if you all have any questions. What are some of the takeaways that you're taking from today's session? So, please, if there are any questions, use the chat box. Or you can unmute yourself and ask. If there aren't any questions, I would like to hear what you're taking away from this session today. Okay, what happens if the client turns to be resistant? If the client is resistant, it's the approach that the coach uses. It's the openness that the coach shows to the client. It's the flexibility that the coach gives to the client that matters. And they will open up. They might not open up in the first go, it might be a gradual process. But the point here is to raise the client's awareness. Does that answer your questions, Boglarka? Sure. What if truly the client doesn't know anything about their desired goal? Will the coach have to become a mentor? So, coach can wear a mentor's hat as well, if need be, but then the coach has to really say it out that, okay, this is a mentor's hat that is being worn right now. I'm not talking from the coaching hat point of view. And a client might not have answers straight on. That is the fact. If coaching was that simple, anyone could do it, right? It's how the coach navigates the client to get those answers. It's not one question that solves the whole, you know, problem out there. These are multiple questions, these are multiple feedbacks that might be given to raise the awareness. So it's a process, which is why a typical session might be 60 minutes because you're still exploring. There's a lot of exploration that happens. My takeaway is to remember my coaching training and that my memory is not that bad, and a new approach on the grow model. Thank you, Lucas. So you've already done your coach training, huh? Interesting. Anybody else? Okay, over to you, Anjali.
Thank you. Thank you, Sonal, for that lovely, insightful session. We have a few announcements for today. What is a great coach or a leader? It is an experience, strategy, or is it a vision or something else? Find out on the 19th. And this is our maiden edition of a new Communities of Practice session. So please join in. It's starting every third Wednesday of the month. The registrations are already opened. You can use the code there given for you all, or even in the chat box, there's a link. Please use that. We also have in store something new with the coaching skills here, which people want to elevate. You can register here for the Certified Professional Team Coach course. It is a 45% discount that is being given. Here again, we have the code. Please feel free to use it. And the last announcement, our LATAM speakers, they're not left out. We also have theirs, which is they're giving us a 2-for-1 special, where we'll be having a session here with them for the art of felicitation with Sophia and Guadalupe. That's your code there. Please do scan it. Don't miss this opportunity to learn and grow. Join our APO group of communities, and you'd find like-minded people there. These sessions will be sent to you. It will also be available on APO YouTube channel. Please fill in our feedback poll before leaving. Thank you so much. Stay motivated for more such webinars. This is Anjali signing off. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sona.
Thank you very much. All right, bye-bye, everybody.